We've got some NBA Finals tea. What did Kyrie Irving do to possibly have a curse against the Boston Celtics? Welcome into your Denver Sports Daily for June 10th. Let's go.
Taking you through your morning headlines, it's Denver Sports Daily with Rachel V. Hill.
Jrue Holiday had 26 points and 11 rebounds as the Boston Celtics beats the Dallas Mavericks 105-89 last night. The win gives the Celtics a 2-0 lead in the NBA Finals. Luka Doncic scored 32 points with 11 rebounds and 11 assists for the first NBA Finals triple-double in Mavs franchise history. But he missed a three-pointer with 28 seconds left, ending Dallas's last chance at a comeback. Game 3 is going to be Wednesday night in Dallas. Now, what is this about a curse, you might be asking? And of course, yes, I do know that this technically isn't Denver sports related, but hey, the NBA Finals is something that everybody tunes into, so bear with me on this one. Kyrie Irving has lost 12 consecutive games against the Boston Celtics since leaving the team, a streak that has sparked discussion among fans and analysts. If you go on Twitter, you're going to see a ton of it. And this includes a recent playoff series where he has struggled significantly, averaging 14.8 points per game with a low shooting percentage. The losing streak has been attributed to by some, considering a curse related to an incident where Irving stepped on the Celtics logo, Lucky the Leprechaun, in 2021. So could he possibly have a curse on him after stepping on Lucky the Leprechaun? Maybe that's why we're seeing so bad. But you have to admit, 12 games, a 12-game consecutive losing streak against the Boston Celtics is definitely not looking good over there. We'll switch on over now to Aaron Gordon. On Friday, he captioned a post on Instagram, which featured a large tattoo on his chest to honor his brother, Jrue Gordon, who died just over a week ago. The artwork has the initials DG with black ink, meaning and then having the howling primate over his left pectoral. Gordon, 33, is the older brother of the Denver Nuggets forward. He too was an NBA player and a standout basketball player for the New Mexico Lobos, then went on, obviously, to play in the NBA for a little bit. The elder brother died in a car crash in Oregon where his three-wheel Vendor Hall Carmel collided with a GMC Sierra in the afternoon of May 30th. According to TMZ, they also believe that there was no any impairment in the accident. So, of course, we still send our love and condolences to Aaron Gordon and his entire family, plus the wife of Jrue Gordon and their 3 children. So, heading over now, we'll skip over to Michael Malone, the head coach of the Denver Nuggets. He is still dealing with the team's Game 7 loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves, just like so many of us are, in fact. He has not been able to watch any of the other rest of the NBA playoffs so far. Malone joined Jim Rome on Friday for a rare offseason interview. It's very, very rare that we ever see him do anything media-wise, but he shared an interesting tidbit. So Rome asked him about the Boston Celtics beating down the Dallas Mavericks in Game 1 of the NBA Finals, and he said, "I still have a hard time sitting there and watching it because I want to be there. I want to be coaching the Nuggets in the NBA Finals," Malone said. "But it's still just a little bit too raw for me right now to sit there and watch those games," which I totally feel 100% when it comes to Michael Malone and dealing with that for sure. We'll head on over now to the NHL playoffs because we have the Stanley Cup finals going on, and the Panthers are off to a hot start in those finals, shutting out the Edmonton Oilers 3-0 on Saturday night. Goalkeeper Sergei Bobrovsky was brilliant, stopping 32 shots for the first shutout in Game 1 of the NHL finals, since 2011. The Panthers had a goal from a name that might sound pretty familiar to Avalanche fans as well. Evan Rodriguez was able to get one in the back of the net for the Panthers. Obviously played last season for the Colorado Avalanche, goes on now to a contender, so it ends up being a pretty good move for him, that's for sure. He never just seemed to fit in with this Colorado Avalanche group. There was always something a little bit off. I don't know if it was stuff going on in the locker room or whatever, but congratulations to Evan for being able to make it this far. And I guess it gives me a reason to root for the Panthers. So we'll see what ends up happening. Game 2 is set for tonight, so definitely make sure you tune into that. Stanley Cup finals are always so much fun, so entertaining. Hockey is so intense, so I'm sure it's going to be a great rest of the series. Now, the NHL, though, is adding a new international tournament to replace next year's All-Star Game. The Four Nations Face-Off will feature teams from the USA, Canada, Finland, and Sweden competing in a round-robin tournament next February. The games will be played at Bell Central in Montreal and TD Garden in Boston, and the championship game will take place February 20th in Boston as well. I think that this is really, really cool. I actually love the idea of this. I feel like the All-Star Game was pointless. I know they had Justin Bieber and a bunch of people this year doing stuff, and I was like, I feel like nobody tunes into it, but when it involves other countries, it kind of feels a little bit Olympic-like, and so I think people will actually really pay attention to this, and I think it's going to be a good move for the NHL. The roster reveals will begin later this month with the first 6 players for each team announced on June 28th, so you're already going to know and be able to feel a little bit connected. Honestly, I'm kind of sad because if Gabriel Landeskog was healthy and back out there, I think it would be so cool to see him go out, obviously, for Sweden, if that would even be an option. I know it's not exactly like the Olympics. Like, technically, he's still a USA NHL player, but I still just think it would be so cool to be able to see him play his old team or like his country or whatever. So, again, I really like this move over there for the NHL. I think it's going to be really, really fun. Now, the University of Kentucky's baseball team has made history by securing its first ever spot in the College World Series with a 3-2 victory over Oregon State. The Wildcats' success marks a historic moment for the program. And additionally, the University of Tennessee's baseball program also advances to the College World Series after a dominant 12-1 win over Evansville, marking their return to Omaha after a successful season. So we're going to play here in just a second this video, essentially, and you might be like, oh, like, cool, Kentucky's going to their first ever World Series. And that is true, but that's not really what sparked a lot of the conversation last night. It is essentially because Kentucky puts the final nail in the coffin to the Pac-12. This is the final play, everybody, in Pac-12 history. Take a listen.
The pitch. Strike three called. And for the first time, Kentucky is headed to the College World Series.
So long to the Pac-12. Now, something else that sparked a lot of conversation this weekend will be that Caitlin Clark won't be heading to Paris this summer. According to reports, the Indiana Fever star was left off of the U.S. Olympic women's basketball roster. Clark has played for Team USA at the junior level, but was unable to attend this year's national training camp because she was playing for Iowa in the Final Four. This has caused so much drama, and truthfully, my heart feels bad for Caitlin Clark. I have never seen so many conversations around race, around women in sports, around so many different things. And the fact that they were quote unquote worried, this was again a rumor, so I don't know if this is actually true, but a rumor that they were worried about the viewership if Caitlin Clark played or didn't play for Team USA and how that it would affect everything. There is an insurmountable amount of pressure on this woman right now. And I'm appalled that it has even gotten to this point with the media, with fans, with anybody. It's actually insane. I'm almost frustrated for her. I don't know if that's like the right word I should be using, but there is so much drama involving Caitlin Clark, and I feel like it has nothing to do with her. I've never seen an interview where she has caused any sort of drama. It's more just like, yeah, I wish obviously whoever's going to be playing out there the best. I wish whoever's going to be going up against it. I'm happy that we can bring more attention to women's basketball. I've never seen anything else involving her actually having anything come out of her mouth. It's everybody else, and I think we need to take a chill. I feel like I could go on a 10-minute rant about this, but unbelievable. I mean, obviously, we saw Pat McAfee get himself in some trouble. I believe it was last week by calling Caitlin Clark some names. Like, there's been so much drama with it. And I'm just like, we need to be done. We need to give this girl a break. Please just give her a break. But going back to Team USA, the roster reportedly includes Diana Taurasi, who will be playing in her record 6th Olympics, which congratulations, that's amazing. And Brittany Griner, who will be playing her first international game since her 10-month detainment in Russia as well. So obviously wishing them best. Team USA has won every single gold medal since women's basketball was added to the Olympics in 1996. So obviously we are wishing them the best of luck. The Olympics are going to be here before we know it. Fun fact, in case you didn't, Jake Shapiro from over here at Denver Sports will actually be heading out to Paris for the Olympics this year. He's going to be going on his honeymoon. So really, really cool. I think he's going to have an absolute blast. But yes, can we all just take a chill pill on Caitlin Clark, everybody? Like, let the girl go out there and just play some basketball and move on, please. And thank you. Last one for you, because this is actually like super random. But if you guys all remember, Dana White went on Howie Mandel's podcast earlier this year in February. And in a new interview, White said that the whole thing was actually a setup that he did in favor of Mandel after meeting with him the same day. So essentially, if you missed the podcast, he ends up walking off and kind of blowing off this podcast. But so White ends up going to say, we hit it off, started talking, great dude. So we were walking through and stuff. And he goes, would you do me a favor? And I said, yeah, what's up? He's like, would you come in and get up and walk off my podcast? I go, I would be blank honored to walk off your podcast because I am so blank sick of doing podcasts. It's not funny. We go in there and do it right. And he's like, take this to the grave. And I said, done. I'll take it to the grave. Easy. There's lots of stuff like this that happens behind the scenes. You would be amazed when you hear some of the stories of some of the drama, the things that catch the headlines actually being pre-planned things. That's not a surprise anymore. What is a surprise is that they said, take it to the grave, and now he's coming out and talking about it. White says he came clean because a room full of fans began an anti-Mandel chant out of loyalty to Dana White, and he couldn't let that stand. White said he is now telling the true story behind the podcast walkout while assuring everybody that they should listen to Mandel and that he did absolutely nothing wrong and deserves no blowback from his fans. I feel like this is such a random story to end on a Monday, but it is the truth. There are so many things that happen behind the scenes that we don't know about, that they are pre-planned and all sorts of stuff. So I just thought that this was like such a random little fun fact for your Monday. Because again, I remember hearing about Dana White walking off the podcast. I was like, this is so random. Like, I didn't realize that there was any beef or anything like that. So people love their UFC, that's for sure. And they also love their Dana White. But you guys, it's going to do it for the Monday. James Merlot will be on with me for coffee break, so make sure you tune in. Last week, you guys exploded this conversation. Now, of course, James had some pretty hot takes. I'm not going to lie. They were pretty spicy, but you guys were loving it over on social media, and some of you were absolutely hating it, so I understand. Again, he thinks Russell Wilson's going to go on to win the Super Bowl. I do not think that, but hey, to each their own. So make sure you come hang out with us 12 p.m. We're going to be doing it live, so it's going to be a really good conversation as always, and we will see you guys tomorrow for another episode of Denver Sports Daily. Have a great Monday, everybody. Get back to work.